The fog was already thick when Thomas Alden turned onto Holleridge Lane. His headlights barely cut through the gray veil, and his old Volvo creaked in protest as it rolled over crooked cobblestones that hadn't been maintained in a century. The road twisted like a serpent, hugging the forest as though afraid to enter. Trees towered on either side, blackened dead things with branches like claws reaching for the sky. He pulled up to the gates just before midnight. There it stood, Wraithmoor House. The mansion loomed beyond the rusting iron gate, its spires crooked against a blood-red moon. Ivy strangled its stone facade, and its windows, countless and dark, seemed to watch him. One, high on the third floor, glowed faintly green, and behind it was a silhouette. A woman, standing still, watching. Thomas blinked. When he looked again, the window was empty. He had no choice but to proceed. His sister's last letter had begged him to come here. No explanations, just coordinates and one final line. Don't trust the woman in the window. The gates creaked open without being touched. Thomas hesitated. The last time he'd seen Emma, she was laughing on a video call from her cozy flat in Edinburgh, telling him she was doing a paper on isolated architectural psychology, and had found something interesting in the countryside. That was 3 weeks ago, no contact since. The local police claimed there was no trace of her, only this address, this house. He entered the grand foyer. The air was still and wet, the scent of rot thick in his nostrils. Black and white portraits lined the walls, faces from another time, all scowling, eyes scratched out. A brass key waited on a pedestal with a tag, guest room, top floor. He didn't remember climbing the stairs, not really. The house shifted underfoot, like a ship at sea, each hallway longer than it should be. Every now and then, he caught a glimpse of something at the edge of his vision, a flicker of movement, a pale shape disappearing around a corner. At the top of the stairs, he found the door. The key turned easily. The room was cold, elegant in its decay. Velvet curtains, moth-eaten sheets, and an oil painting of a woman in a white dress standing at the very same window he had seen from the driveway. He closed the curtains. He tried to sleep. The wind howled, or at least it seemed to, except there was no wind. The trees outside didn't move. Around 2 a.m., a scratching sound began. Software deliberate. It came from the walls. Thomas pressed his ear against the wood. The scratching grew louder, closer, and then, beneath it, a whisper, "Thomas, let me in!" He jumped back. Nothing. He searched the hallway. Empty. Just long, suffocating silence, broken only by the steady ticking of an unseen clock. When he returned to the room, the painting had changed. The woman in white was gone. The next morning, the house felt different. Awake. Furniture had shifted. Doors he was sure were closed now stood open. He wandered the halls, calling Emma's name. No reply. Until the mirror in the downstairs hallway clouded and reflected something that wasn't there. Her face. Emma, pale, eyes wide, mouth stitched shut. She pointed up. The attic. Then the mirror shattered. The attic door had been locked with chains, but now it hung open like a yawning mouth. Dust thick as ash coated the stairs as he climbed. Cobwebs clung to his face. He nearly turned back until he heard it. A voice, muffled, crying, "Emma." He burst through the attic door and stopped. At the center of the room was a chair, and in it sat a woman in a white dress, her back to him, head tilted. "Emma?" he whispered. She turned. It wasn't Emma. The woman had no eyes. Her mouth was an open wound. Her dress was soaked red from the waist down. And yet she smiled. Slow, broken, like her face forgot how to move. Behind her, the shadows writhed. He ran. The fog had entered the house. It slithered through the halls, whispering in voices that weren't his own. Voices of regret, fear, guilt. In the library, he found the truth. A hidden journal beneath the floorboards, penned by one Elias Grayer, 1894. The woman in the window is not of this world. She comes from the fog, a curse bound to this house. She takes memory, identity, self. The first sign is scratching. The second, whispers. The third, forgetting who you are. She feeds on the bloodline. She wore the face of my sister before I banished her beneath the floor. Do not trust her. Do not speak her name. A final scrawl. She is waking. Thomas raced to the basement. The stairs felt endless. The walls pulsed with moisture, and the deeper he went, the colder the air grew. He found the door, just as described, old, rotted, and engraved with wards that glowed faint green. She was behind it, and Emma's voice cried out from the other side. "Please help me, Tom. She's wearing me." His hands trembled. Was it a trick? A trap? Or was his sister truly trapped within the thing? He opened the door. The room beyond was not a room. It was a void. Fog rolled beneath a crimson sky, and in the center stood a twisted mirror, cracked and dripping. Emma stood before it, hands bound, mouth bloody, whispering. The woman in white loomed beside her, fingers tangled in Emma's hair. Her eyes were hollow now, green light pouring from the sockets. And as she looked at Thomas, she smiled again. "Give me your face," she said, "and you can have hers." He stepped forward, and then remembered. Their childhood. The summer in Edinburgh. Emma's laugh, her favorite song, her scar, her real voice. He screamed her name, not the things. And it recoiled. Thomas tackled her, shoving both into the mirror. The void cracked like glass. The fog howled in fury. And then, silence. He awoke outside, on the road. The house behind him smoldered, collapsing into itself. Emma stood beside him, real, whole. But when he looked into her eyes, something shimmered, just for a moment. Weeks later, Thomas received a package, no return address. Inside, a photo, black and white, of Wraithmoor House, whole again, and in the third-floor window, a woman in a white dress, smiling.